discuss two types of business model, the long-tail business model and multi-sided platforms. Long-tail business model is a model where we offer a large number of niche products that feed the taste only of small specific groups of consumers. The 20th century was the century of mass production, and we are used to products that are created in huge quantities, basically for all the people that there are in the market. But today, the more we use the digitalization and all other stuff, the more we face niche products that fit specific needs of small groups. Long-tail business model is based on delivering products and services to such small groups. Let's discuss this model on an example of publishing industry. The standard business model in publishing was the following. Customer segments, broad audience of readers, basically any person who reads books, and the value proposition is the broad context. So the ideal way how this business model worked was to find a hit, a book that will be super popular among readers and offer it to the audience. So the publishing industry was always in search of such hits like Harry Potter by J. Rowling or The War of Thrones by Martin, and so on and so forth. Compared to this, a long-tail business model produced, for instance, by the site Lulu.com works in a different way. This publishing model offers niche authors to niche audience. The value proposition in the center is the self-publishing services and at the same time the marketplace where authors that write some narrow topics can offer their books to customers who specifically search for such books. Using this model, Lulu.com was able to create a market for books that in all type of business models actually were not published or were published only using the money of the authors. Of course, this required the way to connect the authors with the audience. As soon as Lulu.com was able to do this long-tail business model operated in very, very efficient way. And this business model can be sometimes connected to another one, which is called the multi-sided platform business model. Multi-sided platforms, which are also sometimes called multi-sided markets, is a business model that is based on connection between two or more groups of customers or members. And the crucial point about platforms is that the platform is valuable for one group of members or customers only if another group is present on the same platform. Good examples of platforms are, for instance, auction houses where buyers and sellers both should be present, or dating sites where both parties, men and women, should be present with desire to date in order for the platform to be successful. The platform creates value by facilitating interaction between different groups, and this interaction is based on network effects. We can name two types of network effects. There can be direct network effects and indirect network effects. Direct network efforts take place when the presence of the members of one group attracts attention and participation of the members of the same group. A good example can be such a platform model as the platform of Facebook or WhatsApp and many others social networks. When I enter Facebook or other social network, I attract attention of my friends, and the more friends there are on Facebook, my friends, the more valuable is it for me to be on Facebook and vice versa. Indirect network effects operate when the number of members of one group attract attention and create value for other members of other groups. A good example is such platforms as Alibaba or Amazon. The indirect effect is the following. The more consumers there are on Amazon or Alibaba, the more producers will enter this platform in order to sell the products. But the more sellers there are, the more interesting it is for new customers to enter the platform. So in this way, the indirect network effect works. In the beginning of the 21st century, a lot of platforms emerged and started to be the crucial players on the world markets. Let us look at a small description of main platforms all over the world. And we see that all these platforms were categorized by authors of their research into 4 categories. Transaction platforms that facilitate transaction between groups, innovation platforms that facilitate innovation between groups of people, and integrated that combine transactions and innovations, and new emerging field investment platforms that facilitate investments. What's surprising? Throughout this analysis of platforms, we see that the biggest, the most valuable corporations all over the world are platforms in our days. So we see here Google and Apple, Microsoft and Amazon, we see Alibaba and Facebook, Intel, Oracle, and many others. The biggest corporations, they are platforms. So our times are, we can say that times of platforms. What is the difference between a platform and a shop or a dealer? Yes, the difference is the following. The dealer, or just a shop, buys the product from sellers using the wholesale price, and then sells it to final buyers using the retail price. Compared to that, platform operator is not buying or selling the product by himself. It just offers a platform or just a market for buyers and sellers to communicate between each other. Of course, the crucial point for the platform to succeed is to make this transaction as simple as possible and as convenient as possible. So the sellers pay retail price to the buyers directly, and the platform just takes the fee for its services. It may be such services, it may be the services of convenient advertising of the products, and so on and so forth. Let us discuss an example of platform business model, discussing computer games. So the traditional model, which is applied by Sony PlayStation and Xbox by Microsoft, was the following. They were making a high-performance console for gamers, for game fans, which was quite expensive, and it was in many cases sold below its costs of production. In order to earn money, PlayStation, so Sony and Microsoft were taking the royalties from game developers, and they were quite high as a payment for them to be present in this console. So the payment of an access. This is the model of an ordinary dealer. A new approach was proposed by Nintendo Wii. Its console business model offered a much less expensive console for casual gamers. We can call it a family console. And actually it created a platform. The console itself was like a platform with two groups, the gamers and game developers. Basically high number of game developers was able to create a game and be easily present in this console and offer this game to users. A lot of games appeared and many of them were successful. There were some not, but these actually created a platform and marketplace for developers and gamers to interact through this platform. To sum up, modern world is really a world where a lot of platforms emerge every day. Google as a search engine is in a place where firms can advertise, is a platform. Alibaba and Amazon, Facebook, App Store and Google Market are platforms, and so on and so forth. So platform is a very famous business model that is widely used, and many startups through digitalization, through internet, use this type of business model in order to create their success story.